Hi. Hi. I know. I know. Very nice. Okay, so the big test for me with any bite suit that I get in is, how do I trial in it? I'm still an active trial decoy, so that's the area of decoying where I probably do the most dynamic work. It's where I'm most physical in a bite suit. I might have to run across the trial field and do a courage test, or be inside a car doing mechanicals with level 3 dogs. So I want my trial suit to be very, very mobile. For that reason, I waited until I was able to use this suit in a trial before I gave a really good review on it. So fortunately, my good friend Jeremy Seeplick was senior decoy in a trial in Canada. They had a last minute need for a decoy. We talked, it worked out on my calendar. So I flew up to Ottawa, Canada, and I was able to jump in a trial with this bite suit. And we were so short-handed at the trial, I actually got a lot of work in the suit. So it was a good weekend to try out a suit. I worked all 4 levels in the suit: PDCs, level 1, level 2, and level 3. I felt really, really good. There are some things that I liked better about the Demanet. I'm going to go over those here in just a second. Before I do that, probably the thing I liked the best about the Gallais was just that taper. I've said it so many times. The suit just looked and felt really good on my body. It was tapered. I love the jacket. The jacket is tapered so nicely in the torso. That's definitely my favorite part of this. They did do an upgrade for me that they know that I like, and that's the pleated shoulders. And what that does is it gives me a nice taper on the waist area, but in the shoulders, I get more flexibility. I love pleated back jackets. We did that with Demanet about a year ago. My trial suit with Demanet has a pleated back. I really, really like that option. I love the way it feels. I love the mobility I get out of that in my shoulders. And we did that with Gallais too. So that works really, really nice. I like that feature. It is an upgrade. And for me, that's an upgrade that I don't mind paying for. I didn't do a review as soon as I got this first Gallais suit made by Demanet in because I wanted to do a couple things. I wanted to get a good feel for it. I wanted to do some side-by-side comparisons with the Demanet, and I wanted to give you a really honest opinion about what this suit feels like and how it's made. So when I first got it in, I tried it on. I love the way it fit out of the box. I've got an unboxing video on Instagram where I'm actually trying it on for the first time. It feels amazing. Like the suit cut is really, really good. There's some things I really, really like about it, and there's things that I prefer about the Demanet. I'm going to kind of go through those things with you so that you can figure out which suit would be best for you, the Demanet or the Gallais. And I think it's going to be pretty mixed depending on what you do with bite suits, whether you're in police or military or sport, whether you're a trial decoy or a trained decoy. That'll make a big difference into what you actually like better. So as soon as I opened up the box, I really noticed that the French linen felt different. So I sew for a living, so I'm around material a lot. The second I touched it, I was like, that's not Demonet's normal fabric. So fortunately, a week after I received this suit, Shannon and I were actually in Spain. We were hanging out with Hervé and Julie, and we talked a lot about the Gallais suits. We went to the factory and saw some of them, and we really got to learn a lot more about the product, which was very, very valuable. So the Gallais French linen does have a higher cotton content, so it feels a lot softer out of the box. It also has a tighter weave. Now, I talked to Hervé a lot about this because cotton does not normally equate to having a longer life than nylon. So I asked him, I said, do you think this is going to be a more durable suit? And he said yes, because of the weave. The weave is a tighter weave than the normal Demanet French linen. So that's interesting. I am going to say this. I don't think that I can say that until I've actually like worked in the suit and seen it go on for time, right? So like I don't want to say, this is going to last longer than Demanet. I just don't know that. There's no way to know that until we've had them out in the field for, probably at least 6 months would be a good marker for that. So I want to be a little bit conservative on what I think will last longer. The other thing that I instantly noticed was the padding. So it definitely has like a squishier feel. And I would compare this to closer to our better Belgian sleeve. If you're familiar with the squish that is in that sleeve, this suit definitely has more of a squish. Where the Demanet suit is what I would describe as more dense layers of felt. So it has a very unique feel. There's not many suits that feel exactly like Demanet suits. This Gallais suit has a little bit more squish. So I think a lot of people will like that. I think a lot of dogs will actually like it. And I look at that squishiness in the suit as being very beneficial to younger dogs or dogs that are in training that might like that bite surface a little bit better than your typical Demanet suit, especially when they get into the suit initially. This might be a really good suit for that. I typically like a squishier feel for younger dogs and dogs in development. And as they get more mature in their bite work, in their grip development, I really like moving to like a harder surface for those bites. Another feature that got a lot of attention on Instagram was the Gallais collar. So this is a little bit fancy. People are so mixed on this. I've had people tell me that looks so cool. I love that collar. I've had other people say I just don't like it. I like the traditional collar. So the good news is the Gallais suit is going to be offered both ways with this type of collar and the traditional Demanet collar that is just has a lower profile. Biggest difference I noticed with the Galley suit was when I first put it on, it felt very, very tapered. I loved the way it looked and felt on me. Really nice taper in the torso, which is something I really like in a bite suit. I don't like bite suits that are super baggy in my stomach area or my chest area. I like it to be fitted on my torso. I just like the feel of that. I like the way it looks. So when I first got this in, another question I asked Hervé and Julie when we were over there was, hey, did you do a special cut for this Gallais suit? And they said, no, that's the normal Gallais cut. So they took my measurements, and this is not a special cut. This is just the normal Gallais cut. So that Gallais cut is going to be a lot more tapered to your body, which I think a lot of US decoys really like. I know I have a lot of cops that call me and they want that more tapered bite suit profile. A lot of sport decoys, particularly in PSA, want that more tapered look, and this is a good answer for this. So on the other side of that, with the Demanet suits, if you've met me, talk to me about bite suits, a lot of people ask, hey, what's your bite suit recipe? So this has been my current trial suit, and what it is a selective competition, tailored cut, pleated back bite suit. Okay, so that's the recipe if you're wondering what it is. The big takeaways on that are that this is a tailored cut suit, which is going to be brought in a little bit more than the regular cut Demanet suit. So if you're comparing apples to apples, this is a tapered version of a Demanet suit, where this is not a tapered version of the Gallais suit. And they come out pretty similar. They feel similar as far as cut. I like the way they feel on my torso. They just feel a little bit different, mostly because of the padding. Here in a second, I want to lay the suits out on top of each other and see if there is a difference as far as actual sizing. Okay, I really wanted to show the different profiles of the two suits, and it's hard to tell that Demanet suit is underneath the Gallais suit. And I try to match them up the best I can, but it's kind of hard to tell from video, but in person, you can really see the side of the Demanet comes out a little bit more. So this Gallais torso is definitely more tapered. And it's the same over here that has that Demanet bulge in the waist area. And the Gallais is more of a straight cut. So definite difference in the cut in the jacket, which I really actually like. I liked how tapered that Gallais jacket was. The pants, you really can't see a difference between the Gallais regular cut and the Demanet tailored cut, which is what I normally wear. The difference I probably feel has a lot more to do with the padding, just having a little bit more squish than the Demanet. So underneath this size profile, there's just probably a little bit more padding, or a thicker padding profile is a better way to put it, because they're both comp suits. So that's the difference that I feel, where it feels a little bit more constricted. It's actually the padding and not the cut. The definite difference in the cut, and again, it's hard to see here, but this is the area where you're really seeing the difference in the waist area between the Demanet and the Gallais. Here's another feature that I think people are going to really love about the Gallais suit. This is an upgrade, but this is the leather strap system, and it's really, really nice. So it does a couple things. It clips in on the back side of the pants, and it also clips in on the front side of the pants. So this can be fully removable and fully replaced if we need to. If you have like a really, really old bite suit, one of the common things that people are always trying to replace is that elastic over time. Sometimes the suit's holding up great, but they need to replace the elastic. Historically, with Demanet suits, that elastic is sewn into the back part of the pants, and having double clips on it makes it to where it's a no-sew replacement, which is a great idea. We don't have to sew that anymore. You can get replacement straps if you want to. And what I really liked about this is this strap system, this leather strap system, was incredibly comfortable on my shoulders and on my neck. Nothing was rubbing into my neck. It just sat really, really nicely. what I like the most about it, even more than the comfort, is what it did with my pants. And it just held my pants perfectly. I didn't have that typical sliding off of the elastic over my shoulder. This just held my pants exactly where they were supposed to be, and the straps didn't go anywhere. I will say there was a little bit of muscle memory trying to get used to a different strap system, but it really was so comfortable I didn't mind it at all. Okay, here's what I like better about the Demanet, and it comes more down to the pants. And it's not even that I like my Demanet pants better, it's just that I like this fit better. So over the years, I've been in Demanet for over a decade, and I really enjoy how I've dialed in my suit. I have it just the way I want it. So I use my normal measurements. Again, if you've talked to me about how I size my suit, I do -3 in my back measurement to have a shorter jacket because I actually want the jacket to rotate a lot easier when I'm pivoting or when I'm turning my hips to drive a dog. The other adjustment that I make to my sizes is I do +3 in my thigh measurement. The reason for that is I really want my legs to be able to move underneath the suit. So when I add +3 centimeters to my thigh measurement, I'm able to get my knees up to about 90 degrees, which is really, really important when I'm running across the field. So with that being said, I think both suits are great. If you're looking for like a definitive answer about which one to get, you're probably not going to get that. Because if I order this suit again and just make the adjustment of +3 centimeters in the thigh, which is what I normally do, I think this suit would be perfect. I'd love how it feels and I could trial in it. One of the really big tests for a suit for me is I do the sport of PSA. Can I do a courage test really comfortably and well in a new suit? And this suit was barely broken in. I did the courage test over the weekend. I think I had 10 courage tests, and I felt really, really good in the suit. I did feel like my thighs were a little bit restricted. I would like to have been able to get my legs up a little bit higher, but again, that's a sizing thing. So that can be fixed on my next suit. But out of the box, amazing suit. To be seen as far as how long the French linen will hold up, but I think you'll really, really like the cut. This solves so many problems that I have with US decoys and how they want that tapered torso. Gallais suits nailed that with the taper. I really like the fit.